Okay, in this video, what I'm going to do is take a look at how I could write notes into my Sudoku game. And so what I've done is I've put buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on here. And I want to make it so if I click on a 1, it's going to display a 1 as a note. And if I decide, oh, actually, I can't put a 1, if I click on the 1 again, it will remove the 1 from the notes. So one of the first things I did is I put in the code what I want to display as all of the notes, just to show you how I'm going to format them. And what I decided is to make the display look good, I put a 1, and then a little space, and then a 2, a space, and then a 3. And then to get it to go on the next line down, there's a special character called VbCrLf, which stands for Visual Basic Character Return Line Feed, which means the enter key, which counts as 2 characters. Then I'm going to put a 4, 5, 6, go down the next line, and a 7, 8, 9. And so what I did here is as I load up my Soduko, remember I've got the answers and the game already set as variables, and what it does is as it goes through the board from 1 to 81, it's going to take a look if it was a 0, and for example in my game anywhere I have 0, those means blanks, and if the display is not 0, then we're going to display the value. Otherwise, we're going to display blank. But instead of a blank, we're going to put my little cell display on. So I'll press play and I'll show you what I mean here. So when I press play, it's going to load all the values, and anywhere there's a blank, it's going to be filled with all the possible notes that are possible. Great. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to modify the notes, and I'll put in my description the function I created to make the notes, and that will help you out a bit as far as the programming. But let's take a look at how strings work. So how a string works is, imagine I've got the string hello exclamation mark. The character at position 0 of the string is a H. The character at position 1 is a E. L is a at position 2, and so forth. And I made a little note here you can see on the side. So here's the position of letters. So H is position 0, L is 1, and etc. Now, of course, I'm not writing hello in mine. I'm writing 1, 2, 3 with blanks in between. And the reason is because I said that the text was going to be 1, 2, 3, and then a carriage return, and then 4, 5, 6. So I'd have down here a 4, a 5, and a 6. So what is the position of character 4? Character 1 is at position 0, 2 is at 2, and 3 is at position 4. Well, this character here, 4, is actually at position number 7, I believe. And then this would be 8, which would be a blank. 5 would be at 9, a blank here for 10, and 6 is at 11. And so what I decided to do was to make a subroutine that would break those up into what position, because we're going to use a few string functions. So namely, we're going to use the string function of the substring, which tells us to go substring. So if I said string.SubString 2 and get 1 character, it would return L. Or if I said string.SubString position 2 with 3 characters, it would return an L, L, and an O. So a nice easy way just to get a character or more than 1 character is using the substring function. And I'll demonstrate the code now with that. So let's take a look at some of the codes I'm going to use here. So I created a function called, let's get back to the buttons. So in the previous video, I told you to make some buttons and put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on it. And then to make the code for the buttons, what we decided to do is we created a subroutine called button click, and it's going to be just like any regular button click, and it's going to handle button 1, button 2, etc. And so then I create a new button, which is going to be of data type button, and the button is going to take whatever button was sent to it. So as if I clicked on button 1 or button 2, now this temporary variable, this temporary object rather, called button, btn, is now going to be whatever the button was clicked. I'm going to get a value of, that's going to be an integer, which is going to be the text. So for example, if I clicked on a 3, the text is a 3, and I want to display, a value would be 3. Okay, so then I'm going to say Soduko array of whatever the selected cell is, the text in it is going to equal this function I created called notes. So let's take a look at the notes function. And so what the notes function is the note function is going to take the string of whatever my notes are. So if I've got blank, 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 it'll be all blanks. Or if I've got a 1, space 2, space 3, 4, space 5, space 6, 7, space 8, space 9, it would be that. So we don't know what it is, and it doesn't matter. Whatever the notes are, that's going to be, this string is actually what your notes are. The value is the number you're trying to, you pressed. So my value is the button that I pressed. So if, let's say 3. Let's stick with imagining I press a 3. So value would be 3. And so what we're going to do is I create a variable called position, which is equal to value. And I use the select case. So select case works like a whole slew of if-thens. And what I do is I said, if we put a 1, the value, the position is going to be 0. And let's quickly take a look at my drawing again. So you'll see if I selected a 1, my string position is 0. And if I select a 2, you'll see my string position is a 2. And if I select a 3, you'll see my string position is 3. And so let's go back to the code and just see if it makes a bit more sense. So a 1, the position is 0. A 2, I said, was 2. A 3, I said, was position 4. And if I press a 4 on the keypad, now it goes a couple more to 7. 5 would be a 9. A 6 would be 11. And then the last 3, 7 is at position 14, 8 is at 16, and so forth. So a nice, easy way to do that is using a select case. So I've got 9 possible numbers, and where are they on a string? Based on my string being, again, that string of right here of 1, 2, 3, and a carriage return line feed, and a 4, 5, 6, and a carriage return line feed, and a 7, 8, 9. So if that is my possible potential string, then that's the correct positions. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to toggle. I create a variable called toggle number, and perhaps it should be a character, not a string here. But what it's going to equal is whatever my value was, and I'll turn it to a character, or in this case, a string. And so the toggle number will be 3, because we're going to imagine that we press 3. So if we press 3, our toggle number is going to be 3. And then I'm going to use the substring function. So I'm going to take a look at the string that was given to me. And if at position, and so if we look at 3 here, case 3, the position is 4. So if at position 4, it's going to equal, if it does equal the toggle number, then I want to make the toggle number empty, because I want to turn the 3 on or turn the 3 off. And if it's not equal to the toggle number, what I want to do is I want to put in that position, the toggle number is going to be the 3 that I pressed. So either it's going to be a blank. If there was a 3, I'm going to turn it to a blank. But if there wasn't a 3, I want to put a 3 there. So I'm going to use another string function, and this time I'm going to take whatever was in the string and remove at that position, and I'm going to remove a 1. And then if I want to insert a character, I'm going to tell it now to insert that toggle number. So I'm either going to put a blank or a 3 in, and then I return the string. So that's the function, and again, I will put this onto the video notes. Okay, so now let's take a look at my Soduko array text. So the text in the array is going to be whatever my notes are, and we're going to pass it the text that was in that cell, and we're going to also pass it the value we click, which in this case will be a 3. So let's try it out, and let's run the program and see how it works. So let's press play. Here's my program. It loads with all the notes. I'm going to click on this cell here just as a tester. I'm going to press 3 once, and you'll notice the 3 disappears. Hopefully you're looking at this cell right here, the selected cell. So the 3 is gone. I'm going to click on the 3 again, and the 3 will reappear. So you'll see I can actually take all the numbers off, and I can put numbers on just one at a time. So I can make my notes here, and I can say, oh, let's see. It can't be a 3 because there's a 3 in this row. So I'm going to toggle 3 doesn't exist there. Okay, it can't be a 6 because there's a 6 in this cube. There's also 4 in this cube. In fact, if I take a look at it, it can't be a 1 because there's a 1 here. It can be a 2. It can't be a 3 because there's a 3 here. It can't be a 4, 5, 6 because there's 4, 5, 6 here. It can be a 7. Oh, sorry, it can't be a 2. See, I noticed there's a 2 right here. Whoops. So it can't be a 2. So it can be a 7 because a 7 is okay. There's no 7 there, and there's no 7 there. And it can be an 8, and it can also be a 9. So it can be a 7 or 8 or 9. So now I've got it working perfectly, and that's the way the notes are going to work. Now, of course, what I would do is I'm not going to fill it with the notes of 1 to 9 in the beginning. So let me just go back, and real quick, I'm going to change my program. And so I'm going to say the cell display that I had automatically go, I'm going to put blanks in. So I'm going to put blank, 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 and blank. And then I'm going to put here, instead of a 4, I'm going to put a blank, and a blank. And here I'm going to put a blank, and a blank. And now when I run my program's going to work and automatically put the Sudokos in where there's Sudokos and where there's not. So if I click on this cell and say, okay, my notes, I know it could be possibly a 7, an 8, or a 9. So let's put, oops, can't be a 9. How did I miss that before? So it's either a 7 or 8. So now I've got my notes in, and it's working just the way I want. I can put notes anywhere I want, like so, and I can start working out the game. So we're pretty close to doing that. Once we've done that, the next thing is going to be toggling to put guesses. So we're going to make a notes button that's going to turn notes on or off, and then finally it'll just be a guess button, and the last button will be erase.